Welcome to the Cardboard Crash Course. Let's learn how to play Skip Bow. Shuffle the cards and place the deck in the center of the table, then deal the appropriate number of cards out to each player. In a 2 to 4 player game, we'll deal each player 30 cards, but if we were playing with 5 or 6 players, we would instead deal each player 20 cards. We're setting up for 3 players here, so the players will get 30 cards each. Each player will stack up the cards in front of them. This is your stockpile. Turn over just the top card and leave it face up on top of the deck. This stockpile is what you're trying to get rid of in order to win the game. Alongside their stockpile, players will also need space for 4 separate discard piles in front of them in their play area. Players will only use their own play area to discard cards. Next to the draw pile in the center of the table, we'll also have to leave space for 4 building piles. These building piles will be used by all players. Play now begins with the youngest player going first and then continuing clockwise 1 turn at a time around the table. When you begin your turn, you'll always draw cards from the draw pile until you have 5 cards in your hand. That means when you start the game, you're going to have 0 cards in your hand and are guaranteed to draw all 5. After this, you're going to take cards from your hand, your stockpile, and your discard piles, and possibly add them to the building piles in the center of the table. Let's see what that looks like. After we draw up to 5 cards in our hand, we can add from our hand the top of our stockpile and the top of any of the 4 discard piles that we'll create throughout the game to add to one of the 4 building piles. Now, these building piles will start with the number 1 card and will move in ascending order all the way up to number 12 before being cleared. So now, for example, I could start a building pile with this number 1 card here and place it to create one in the center of the table. Now, keep in mind that Skip Bow cards are always wild, and they represent any number that you'd like them to represent. So I could either use this to place on top of that 1 to be a 2, or create a new pile using it as a 1 like so. After that, I don't have any 2s to add to any of the piles, and I don't have any discard piles to look at, so I'd have to end my turn. To end my turn, I take any card of my choice from my hand in order to play it face up to any one of my 4 discard piles. This will allow me more options later in the game to place into the center of the table on the building piles. After this, we'll pass our turn to the next player, who will replenish their hand up to 5 cards and do the same thing utilizing the same 2 that we created and 2 that have yet to be created building piles. This is an example of a turn that I may have later in the same game. I've already drawn for the beginning of the turn from the draw pile to create the 5 cards in my hand. There are a few options I could do here, like playing the 4 from my discard pile onto the 3 to continue that, or I could play the Skip Bow card as a 3 in order to play it on top of this Skip Bow card that's acting like a 2. In fact, I can do any combination of things as long as I continue to have options, but there's one that I'd like to show you. This 11 is 1 card away from that building pile being cleared, and I have 3 options to clear it. I can either play this 12 from my hand, this 12 from my discard pile, or I could even play this Skip Bow card from my stockpile to act as a 12. Now remember, clearing your stockpile is the way you win the game, so I'll go ahead and do that option. After playing a card from your stockpile, flip the next card face up. Also, whenever a building pile has all of the numbers 1 through 12, clear that pile by placing it outside of the play area. This is not used until it's reshuffled in the case that the draw pile ever runs out. Now, if I had a 1 or a Skip Bow card in my discard pile, stockpile, or my hand, I could start a new building pile. But I'll just continue my turn by placing this 4 on top of this 3, and then ending my turn by placing one of the cards, as always, into one of my discard piles. This can be on an empty one, or I could even place it on top of a different one. Now remember, your discard piles do not have to be sequential, so it's totally legal that I played the 12 on top of the 7, because I'm discarding it. The game ends immediately after one player plays their final card from their stockpile into one of the building piles and they have no stockpile left. That player is crowned the winner. Now, you may instead play to points by playing multiple games if you wish. In this mode, instead, the player who would win the game counts up all of the collected cards in all of their opponent's stockpiles and gains 5 points per card remaining. They also get an additional 25 points for being the winner. You continue to play games until one player has 500 points. In either case, whether you're playing single elimination or points mode, there is an option in the rulebook to play a shorter game with only 10 cards in your stockpile. This is not recommended for balance, but may be a great way to introduce this game to new players. Have a great time playing Skip-Bo. Thank you for watching this video. Click here for another fun mix-up on a classic card game, and I'll see you next time on the Cardboard Crash Course.